This is An Infinite Path, spoken word essays by Niles Heckman, some of which go on to become our documentary short subject films, half of which release freely here through the podcast, all of which can be found through your support at nilesheckman.com.
But there's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The big, the wealthy, the real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. They're irrelevant. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big media news, all the big media companies. So they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. You know something? It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
Comedian George Carlin, that great court jester of empire, pierced the veil with these words. He was not joking, though it came wrapped in laughter. He was revealing the architecture of power in America, which is not democracy in the Athenian sense, but plutocracy, oligarchy, and the orchestration of society by malevolent godzillionaires who hold the levers of capital, media, and lobbying. Carlin's genius was that he could condense unspoken reality into a phrase so sharp it cut through the fog, that the average citizen is managed, pacified, manipulated, but never truly invited into the circles where discussions are really made. Now contrast this with the comedian Joe Rogan, whose arc has been particular. He began as an outsider, someone who sat at the edges of culture, exploring taboo subjects, amplifying voices that the lamestream media ignored. In this way, he bore the spirit of initiation, cracking the seal for millions into discussions of psychedelics, UFOs, alternate histories, and human potential. But then success, influence, and the gravitational pull of that very big club. The very dynamic Carlin warned of began to enfold Rogan. The curiosity began to wobble. Instead of being a gadfly prickling the system, his voice increasingly became captured by the same circuits of power he once subverted. Because as wealth accumulates and celebrity solidifies, the outsider is no longer outside, and what was once disruptive becomes contained within the big club itself. Carlin never joined that club. He stayed outside, hurling his Molotov cocktails of truth wrapped in laughter. By contrast, Rogan has been drawn towards it and transmuted from stoned ape theory advocate to oligarchic ball gargler in the process. Carlin's lasting legacy is Hermes the Trickster, messenger of the gods, thief of fire, boundary crosser, laughing at kings and priests alike, delivering truths so biting they slip past the guards disguised as humor. Being outside the palace gates, speaking not to the rulers but to the people gathering in the dust, reminding them that the emperors are naked, that the whole edifice of power is a carnival of absurdity. His laughter is not mere comedy, it is a spell of liberation. By naming the big club and declaring "you're not in it," he tore away the mask, making the hidden architecture visible. Hermes never kneels to the king. Hermes is the thief who steals the king's crown in the night and replaces it with a dunce cap. Rogan's legacy, however, has been drawn into another archetype, the court jester, who also laughs and mocks, but does so within the safety of the palace walls. His role is a watered-down sanctioned rebellion, a pressure valve for the anxieties of the powerful. The jester may lightly poke fun at the king, but never in a way that destabilizes the throne. His power is real, but circumscribed on behalf of the psychopaths at the top of the economic hierarchy who go counter to truth and honor. The Carlin trickster speaks from the margins, the Rogan court jester from the banquet table. The irony is thick. The very cultural energy once drawn upon that outsider suspicion of the artificial system dulls when the system welcomes you into its banquet. The difference is subtle, but alchemically it is everything. The lesser is perennial, the trickster must remain moving, always at the edges, always beyond capture. The minute he accepts a permanent seat at the table, his laughter ceases to be subversive and instead just becomes a form of distracting entertainment. Carlin overstood this, as he chose the crossroads over the banquet and less money but more influence over the comfort of being co-opted. This is why his words still burn like acid today, while Rogan's more just sink into grift. So the archetypal drama plays on, trickster versus court jester, Hermes versus the palace fool. One speaks to the people against the royals, the other amuses the royals at the behest of the people. Both wear masks of laughter, but Carlin's torch carries the true fire.